The first time they declared her dead, no one questioned it. There was a body. There were documents. There was a funeral. Case closed, or so everyone thought. A woman with no enemies. Emily Carter was 32. Quiet, private, ordinary. She worked remotely, avoided attention, and lived alone. The kind of person who leaves very little behind. No public drama. No threats. No visible danger. That's why her death shocked no one. The accident. Late one night, her car was found at the bottom of a ravine. Severe damage. Unrecognizable remains. Dental records matched. Personal belongings were recovered. Authorities ruled it a fatal accident within days. The funeral. A closed casket. Family grieving. Friends confused. No one saw the body. They didn't need to. The paperwork said everything it needed to say. Emily Carter was dead. The first crack. 3 months later, a hospital in another state logged a patient. Same name, same date of birth, same fingerprints. The system flagged it as impossible, because that woman was already dead. A system error? At first, officials assumed a database mistake. That happens, until the fingerprint scan came back again. Perfect match. The impossible question. If Emily Carter died in that crash, who checked into that hospital? Someone had officially died, and officially returned. And in the next part, investigators would realize this wasn't a mistake. It was intentional. The hospital didn't call the police. At first, they called the state records office, and that's where the panic began. The flagged identity. Emily Carter's name was locked. Once a death certificate is issued, the identity is sealed. No medical visits, no transactions, no records, yet here she was. Alive, breathing, registered, surveillance footage. Hospital cameras captured her clearly. Same face, same scar on her left wrist, same mannerisms. This wasn't someone using her name. This was Emily Carter. She said nothing. When questioned, the woman said almost nothing. She didn't argue. She didn't panic. She didn't deny who she was. She only said one sentence. I'm not supposed to exist anymore. The second death revisited. Authorities reopened the crash, and immediately, problems appeared. The vehicle had been registered to Emily, but it hadn't been driven by her. Seat position was wrong. Pedals showed a different height range. Airbag DNA was incomplete. Someone else had been in that car. A body that was never identified. The remains were badly damaged. Dental records matched because the chart had been submitted digitally by someone, not retrieved independently. That single detail cracked the case wide open. A clean erasure. Emily's digital life was almost gone. Social accounts inactive. Emails wiped. Cloud storage deleted. Not hacked. Accessed. She had done it herself. Why fake your own death? Investigators struggled with motive. No money taken. No insurance payout. No criminal history. She hadn't vanished to profit. She vanished to escape. The question changes. This wasn't about how she died. It was about what she was running from. Emily Carter didn't survive an accident. She planned a disappearance. And in the next part, investigators would learn who helped her and why dying once wasn't enough. Once investigators accepted that Emily Carter had staged her own death, the case changed completely. They stopped asking how. They started asking who. A pattern in her past. Emily hadn't always been invisible. Years earlier, she worked for a private medical data firm. Not patient care. Not hospitals. Data. Her job was to audit records, clean databases, and flag irregularities. She saw things most people never would. The first red flag. 6 months before her death, Emily had reported an internal issue. A small one. Patient records being duplicated. Identity files altered. Access logs rewritten. Management told her it was a glitch. She didn't believe that. Quiet resistance. Instead of escalating publicly, Emily did something dangerous. She copied files. Not to steal, to protect herself. Encrypted. Stored offline. And that's when the pressure started. The warning signs. She began receiving anonymous emails. Not threats. Suggestions. Drop it. You're misunderstanding. This isn't your problem. Then came the calls. Silent. Late at night, she never answered. A visit she didn't expect. 2 weeks before the crash, someone showed up at her apartment. A man she didn't know. He said he worked in compliance. He said her name carefully, like he'd practiced it. And he said one thing before leaving. You don't need to keep digging. The decision? That night, Emily searched something very specific. How to disappear legally. She didn't want protection. She wanted erasure. Help from the wrong place. Emily reached out to an online forum. Not for advice, for contacts. That's where she met someone who specialized in identity exits. Fake deaths. Document manipulation. System exploitation. It was expensive, but effective. Why it had to look real. A simple disappearance wouldn't work. She knew too much. They would look for her. A death would stop the search. Emily didn't fake her death to start a new life. She faked it to stay alive. And in the next part, investigators would uncover how her second death almost happened, and why she was found again by accident. After being declared dead, Emily didn't disappear completely. She became careful. New state, new job, no social media, cash whenever possible. She avoided hospitals, avoided paperwork, avoided attention. The plan worked. Until it didn't. The mistake. Emily collapsed at work. Nothing dramatic, just dizziness. A sharp pain she couldn't ignore. Coworkers called an ambulance, and the moment her fingerprints were scanned, the system reacted. Not with alarms, with confusion. The system that never forgets. Her identity triggered an internal lock. The nurse thought it was a glitch. The system thought she was a contradiction. Dead people don't get admitted. The question she didn't dodge. When asked for identification, Emily didn't run. She didn't lie. She said quietly, "I know what this looks like." That honesty saved her. The files she still had. When investigators finally gained her trust, Emily gave them something she had kept hidden for years. The data. Patient records altered to create new identities. Deaths reassigned. Medical histories rewritten. Not random. Targeted. What she had discovered. The firm she worked for wasn't just mishandling data. They were selling clean identities. For people who needed to disappear. Criminals. Witnesses. People with money. Emily had uncovered a pipeline. Medical records were the key. Why she ran. When she copied the files, she became a liability. She knew if she reported it, she wouldn't be protected. She'd be erased, so she erased herself first. The near-second death. Investigators found something terrifying. A second crash report. Unfiled. Incomplete. A plan that never happened. Someone had tried to make sure Emily stayed dead. Permanently. Emily had survived once. Barely. And now that she was visible again, the question wasn't whether the truth would come out. It was whether she would survive long enough to tell it. Emily didn't want revenge. She wanted closure, protective custody. After everything came out, Emily was placed under federal protection. No press, no interviews, no real name. To the public, she was still dead. That part stayed true. The investigation explodes quietly. Authorities didn't announce raids. They moved silently. Data centers seized. Servers mirrored. Executives questioned. The firm denied wrongdoing. Until internal messages surfaced. They didn't talk about patients. They talked about assets. The identity market. The evidence showed a clean system. Medical deaths reassigned. Fingerprints recycled. Digital lives rewritten. Not sloppy. Professional. Emily hadn't exposed a mistake. She had exposed a service. Why no one heard about it? The case never became a headline. Too many overlapping jurisdictions. Too many powerful clients. Too much risk. Charges were split. Cases sealed. Settlements signed. The system protected itself. Emily's choice. Emily was offered a new identity. A permanent one. No records. No past. No trail. She accepted. Not because she was afraid anymore. Because she was tired. The second death. Legally, Emily Carter died twice. Once in the ravine. Once in the courtroom paperwork. This time it was clean. Final. The last message. Before disappearing for good, Emily left one statement for investigators. Short. Precise. People think death ends things. Sometimes it's how things are controlled. Final thought for the viewer. Emily survived by doing something extreme. She erased herself. And the most disturbing part isn't that it worked. It's that the system already knew how to do it,